I'm Katie Lee from the set of The Kitchen. Today we are making a creamy and delicious no-bake peanut butter cheesecake using a very special ingredient, Girl Scout cookies. Let's get started. Okay, I love this, and we're gonna start off with the crust. So we need a cup of finely crushed do-si-dos. These are peanut butter sandwich cookies. So it takes just about 2 sleeves of these cookies. So get those all in there, and they just go into a food processor. If you don't have one of these, you can put them in a resealable bag and just crush them up. And there's no need to take the sandwich cookies apart and take the peanut butter out. That peanut butter is actually gonna help hold together the crust. And you just wanna get it nice and fine. So this is like if you were making a cheesecake with graham crackers, but we're using cookies instead. I was in the Girl Scouts, I was a brownie, and I loved selling the cookies. That was my favorite part of the entire Girl Scout process. And my dad took me to work with him, and I went around and had all of his coworkers help me out. Well, this one just didn't want to crush up, so I'm gonna put it over there, save it for later. So we are using a 10-inch springform pan. A springform pan is important for a cheesecake because it lets you have that wonderful wow moment where you can take off the springform and the cheesecake is left there and it looks so pretty then. And it makes it a lot easier. So just kind of shake it out in your pan, and then I like to use a metal mixing cup to push it down and form the crust. And because of the peanut butter in there, it's gonna stick together. Whereas if you were making a graham cracker crust, you'd add melted butter, and that would help it stick together. The peanut butter is acting the same. And it's okay if it looks a little bit crumbly or a little sandy, and you think, oh, maybe that's gonna get into my cheesecake. It's all right, because the cheesecake filling will help press it down. But look at that, it looks great. And the metal mixing cup really helps get it nice and even. I'm gonna put this into the freezer to help it set up. And now let's make our filling. Into my electric mixer bowl, I've got 2 8-ounce packages of room temperature cream cheese. You can let it sit out for about an hour, and that will be enough to get it nice and soft. And if you're using an electric mixer, it's really a lot easier to get it to mix up. And I've got a cup of creamy peanut butter. You could use chunky if that's what you prefer. I like creamy for this. I like that nice smooth texture to go with it. And if you don't have one of these stand mixers, you can use your handheld mixer as well. I like using this because then my hands are free to do other things. A half a cup of powdered sugar. So it's not overly sweet because we've got all that cookie sweetness going on. I'm just gonna turn this on. Plus we're gonna add a little bit of whipped cream to it. And just gonna scrape that peanut butter in there. And I'm gonna let this go and chop up some cookies for my filling. So we're not using just 1 Girl Scout cookie in this recipe, we are using 2. I've got the tag-alongs, which are the peanut butter cookies with the little cookie in there, the layer of peanut butter, and then dipped in chocolate because I like chocolate with my peanut butter. So I'm gonna take just the whole package, chop these up. Part of them are gonna be for our garnish, and part of them are getting mixed in to our filling. So just give them a rough chop through here. They don't need to be perfect. You can also, if you like this to be really fine, you could do it in a food processor, but I like having the extra texture of the cookie when I'm eating the cheesecake. So then go the opposite direction with your knife. Just run it right through. If you're a perfectionist, you can absolutely go by cookie if you want it to look perfect and get them all the same size. But it's fine to be a little rough. Okay, this looks good. And this is coming together nicely. Just go through with a spatula and give it a little push down around the edges so that it gets nice and even. And then turn it back on. And I'm gonna get out the crust while that goes. So this crust looks great. And the filling is looking good. Let's mix in our whipped topping now. Now, a traditional cheesecake would have eggs in it, and you'd have to put it in the oven and bake it. And we're not doing that because this is no bake. So there's no eggs in this cheesecake recipe. And I'm just gonna get every little last bit off of here. And any that stays, since there's no eggs in it, it's the cooks have it with that little extra cookie later. And pull this right off. In the same bowl, you just add a tub of whipped topping, and we're gonna fold that in to our cream cheese mixture. And this is gonna be nice and light and airy. And once you learn this recipe, the base of the cream cheese and the whipped topping, you can really play around with the flavors. You could use chocolate hazelnut spread in this if you wanted to mix it up. I had a pistachio butter the other day that was delicious. That would be really good. So you can kind of make it your own, customize it, and use different kinds of cookies. So you just want to really get this mixed and not too aggressive with it because you want to keep that nice light airiness of the whipped topping. And now I'm going to take about, let's say about 3/4 of our cookies and put those right in there as well. And I'm gonna save the rest for garnish. And then continue to fold. So there's gonna be great texture in your cheesecake because of those cookie bits in there. And then into your crust. This looks great. It smells so good. I hope your kitchen smells as good as mine does right now with all that peanut butter. And just use a spatula to push this down and smooth it out. And it's okay if it doesn't look perfect because we're gonna top it with more cookie pieces. So it'll be garnished beautifully. I actually made this cheesecake for my husband and he took it to work with him and put it in the break room. And he said people were coming out with pieces of it going, what is this cheesecake? It is amazing. And look how easy it is. Took us no time to make it. Okay, so let's take our little cookie bits and put them over the top. So it gets all nice and covered with that chocolate peanut butter flavor. And it goes into the refrigerator. It needs about 6 hours to set up in the fridge. The beautiful big reveal, taking it out of the springform pan. Ta-da! Delicious. Isn't she beautiful? Okay, let's cut into it. I like to have some hot water to run my knife through. Make it easier to cut. First slice is always the hardest. Here we go. Oh, can't wait to eat this. And then run a spatula under it. Beautiful. So there is our cheesecake. I'm gonna take the rest of it and put it onto a cake stand. Now's the best part, time to eat it. Ha ha. Okay, let's dive into this cheesecake. It's so creamy, rich and delicious. And I love the texture of the cookies in there. And that cookie crust, it's so peanut buttery. It's delicious. I hope that you enjoy this as much as I do. My no-bake peanut butter cheesecake. Thanks for baking with me. Enjoy.